Good day to our lecturer Dr. Dharatul Ambia and fellow classmates. Today, our group are going to present about topic for training needs assessment. Before starting our presentation, I would like to introduce myself and my group mates. My name is Kashwina Shanmunathan, matrix number 261409, followed by my group mates Kwan Meiyan, Norshila binti Mat Saad, Lim Yun Min, and also Tanisha Devi Anaperempuan Radhakrishna Naidu. Hope you all will enjoy and learn something new from our presentation. In this topic, we are going to cover about 4.1 Importance of Needs Assessment, 4.2 Methods of Need Assessment, 4.3 Process of Evaluating Training Needs, and lastly, Competency Model. Before starting our presentation, I have something to share with you all. According to Broad and Newstorm, not more than 6 to 10% of expenditures in training actually result in the transfer of jobs. It is important to take the time to investigate the reason for the training request. If we don't, we run the risk of training the wrong people in the wrong content at the wrong timing. A training needs assessment is the only way to verify and validate the need, focus, scope, and target group for a training program. Before going into deeper, let us look at the program overview cycle. As you can see the training management cycle, there are 3 steps, which is step 1 planning, step 2 implementation, and step 3 evaluation. Planning is the first step, and at the planning stage, the steps are divided into 2. The first one is training needs assessment, as also called as TNA, and the second one is training planning. In this presentation, we are going to focus only on training needs assessment. I know you all are confused with what is training needs assessment actually. So now I'm going to explain about the definition of training needs assessment. TNA is the method of determining if a training need exists, and if it does, what training is required to fill in the gap. TNA seeks to identify accurately the level of the present situation in the target surveys, interviews, observations, secondary data, or workshop. The gap between the present status and the desired status may indicate problems that in turn can be translated into a training need. So from these, we can conclude that training needs equal to desired capability minus current capability of the participant. For more information, you can refer the diagram below. As you can see, there is a gap between the required performance and also the actual performance. So this gap refers to the needs of assessment. Now let us look at the importance of training needs assessment. The TNA provides information on the training and skill development requirements of all members of your network. It is one of the key steps in preparing a training plan and will provide you with the information on which to base your network's training plan. It enables you to identify the gap between the current and required level of knowledge, skills, and attitude. Secondly, identify what the general content of training should be. Thirdly, form the foundation of a training plan. Fourthly, provide a baseline for the evaluation of a training plan. Fifthly, ensure that appropriate and relevant training is delivered. And lastly, maximize use of scarce resources. As you can see, these are all the importance of training needs assessment.
My name is Kwan Yan, 265490. There are 7 training needs analysis techniques. The first one is observation. The advantages is generate data relevant to working environment and minimize the interruption of work. However, need skills observer employee behavior may be affected by being observed. Second is question A. This is inexpensive and can collect data from a large number of persons, and the data is easily to summarize. However, question A requires time, possible slow return rates, inappropriate response, lack detail, and only provide info directly related to question asked. The third one is interview. It is good at uncovering detail of training needs, can explore unanticipated issues that come up, and questions can be modified. However, it's also time-consuming, difficult to analyze, can be threatening to SMEs, and difficult to schedule. For the fourth one is focus group and collaborations tool. It is useful with complex or controversial issues that one person may be unable to explore. However, for the disadvantages, it is time-consuming to organize, and group members provide only info they think you want to hear. Next is documentation. It is a good source of info on produce, objective, and good source of task info for new job. However, it may be unable to understand technical language and material may be obsolete. Next is the online technology. The advantages is it has objective and minimized interruption of work and it requires limited human involvement. However, it may threaten employees. Manager may use info to punish rather than train. Limited job requirement interaction with customer. For the last one is historical data review. It provides data relevant to performance and practice. However, the available data may be inaccurate, incomplete, or not fully represent performance. For the method used in TNA, it's for newly created job, and trainers often do not have job incumbents to rely on for this information. Historical data review provides information regarding current performance level. And the last one is online technology is available to monitor and track employees' performance. The method used in training needs analysis is focus groups, benchmarking, and crowdsourcing. For the focus group, it is a type of SME interview that involves a face-to-face meeting with group of SME in which the questions that are asked related to specified training needs. Next, benchmarking is using information about other companies' training practices to help to determine the appropriate type of level and frequency of training. Lastly, crowdsourcing is to asking a large group of employees to help provide information for needs assessment that they are not traditionally asked to do.
Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. I am Rashila binti Mas'ad, metric number 271890. I will continue with process of training need analysis. TNA consists of 5 processes, starting from identify problem need, determine design of analysis, collect data, analysis data, and lastly provide feedback. Before TNA is conducted, it should be probed whether training is needed or not. Performance gap analysis is conducted to look at current working performance and knowledge. From gap performance also can identify whether workers are performing as desired based on given role and responsibilities or not. Basic knowledge about gap is what organization expect to happen and what is actually happened. If organization did not achieve their goal, manager or supervisor need to define the problem and determine what are the causes. After identify problem and needs, organization will set up overall objective for a training course such as training for leadership skill. The second step is determine design of need analysis. Organization should determine target group to be trained, interviews, survey method and survey plan including schedule to be conducted TNA and person in charge of TNA. For target group, the survey must clearly define the training target group, which is the employee. While there are no strict rules to define, the target group must be defined in line with the objective of the TNA. Reviews are a must-produce element such as training subject, importance exercise, time requirement, current target group, potential target group, training frequency, and the result of the training required. Once a target group for the training is identified, interviews for the survey are selected. Sampling of the target group population, which will be addressed in the next session, should be used if all the officials of the target group cannot be interviewed due to time constraint. Next, collect data. In collecting data, many methods can be used by a company to get a comprehensive overview of the need in the sector. Typical method of collecting information are survey, focus group, individual interviews, review existing document, discussion with steering group and discuss with relevant bodies. The following 5 steps are to be taken in conducting a group discussion. First, orientation and objective and content of the survey for interviews, explaining questionnaire for individual survey, conducting a group discussion with a guide question, wrapping up the interview, and modifying method process and questionnaire if needed. In analysis data, companies should conduct a quantitative and qualitative analysis. Qualitative analysis means to measure something by its quality rather than quantity. When we do qualitative analysis, we are exploring how we describe something. Quantitative analysis is the opposite. To measure by quantity rather than quality as measure number and percentage. In finding conclusion and recommendation on training content, it must relate with causes and solution. Not all problems can settle by doing training. If performance gap is because of skill or knowledge, must do training. If employee not motivated, organization must give reward. If related to job environment, organization must change their environment. If more than one training need were identified, organization should prioritize training based on the urgency of the need, and manager can develop instructional objective for training and development program. Last step is provide feedback. The direct feedback from customer or workers indicate the specific work area which need improvement. An organization can determine the next step for training preparation. Sometimes, training is not a solution. Some performance gap can be reduced through management. The main concern of training program is satisfaction of trainees with the training delivery, improvement of skill derived from the training activity, and effect of the training on job performance to achieve organization goal. That's all from me, and I will pass to the next person. Thank you.
A very good day to Dr. Daroto, Ambia and fellow classmates. My name is Lim Yumin. My metric number is 261738. I will present about competency analysis. Competency is the capability to apply or use the set of related knowledge, skill, ability required to successfully perform critical work function or task in a defined work setting. What is a competency model? A competency model is a framework for defining the skills and knowledge requirements of a job. It is a collection of competency that jointly define successful job performance. It can also be said as identify the competency necessary for each job as well as the knowledge, skills, behavior, and personality characteristics underlying each competency. There are two types of competency, which is soft skills and hard skills. Examples of soft skills are leadership development, team building, professional job, and career pathing, while hard skills consist of information technology, which is IT, finance, and technical. Next, I will discuss about a typical competency analysis process that consists of 5 steps. Step 1. The first step in competency-based assessment is for a person to conduct a self-assessment. This could be as simple as completing a competency assessment form, or it might be as detailed as a collection of evidence that they can perform some skills. Step 2. While a self-assessment may be sufficient for some process, many require an assessor to also assess an individual. This usually requires completing a competency assessment form and in some cases, reviewing the evidence a person has collected that they can perform a skill. For more robust competency assessment processes, an assessor may observe a person performing some skill on the job. While step 3, an assessment will identify the area where a person is already competent and the areas in which they need development. Using this information, a development plan can be created. Step 4. A good approach to a person's development plan is to include a mix of on-the-job and off-the-job learning. And the last step, step 5, each development needs where identify a person will need to be reassessed once learning has been complete. Once the assessment has successfully complete, a person is deemed competent and in short, competency assessment is an ongoing process in which knowledge and skills are continually built. This is particularly important in today's fast-paced, dynamic world. Being able to understand current capability and develop new ones is critical to stay ahead of the curve. This is useful for individuals as they progress through career from novice to expert. For companies, competency assessment can provide a great foundation for a succession planning process. That's all for my presentation. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tanusha Devi Radhakrishnan Naidu, metric number 263359. I'm here to conclude what is training need assessment. So basically, training need assessment is a process where a business need to go through to determine what kind of training that they need to give to complete it within a certain period, so that the employee is able to complete it within complete it effectively and give a good progress for the company. There are 4 benefits by the company will get by having this CNA. First, it will identify the knowledge gap before there's a big problem appear. Second, it helps to plan what kind of training that need to be given the whole year. Third, it highlights the training that we may not considered earlier. And the final one, it helps to prioritize training needs. So there are a few tips on conducting TNA during this pandemic. Pandemic is a big issue nowadays, and it is difficult for the businesses. So there are 3 tips that I can give for the business to conduct the TNAs during pandemic. So first is ask the right questions consistently. So there might be some problems pop up, the same problems pop up because that the employers they don't understand what are the real challenge. So by doing this, it will help to identify the KPI, which is key performance index. Second is go to the source. The managers need to go directly to the learners or employees to understand what they really need from the employers. The last one will be identify opportunities for cross-skilling. Cross-skilling is a task outside of their job function to ensure operations that don't solve due to the employee's absence or organizational disturbance. Like they can substitute the employers who have a different skill, so they able to help them to do the work. So for example, they need to conduct a skill risk analysis of a business critical units that drive the highest value of proposition. Then they can begin with the cross-skilling select workforce population for their new business strategy. Okay, there are a few techniques in TNA. There are 7. First is observation, questionnaire, interview, focus group, documentation, online technology, and the last one will be historical data review. There are 3 methods in TNA. First is focus group. Focus group is about focusing on a specific group, like for example, SME owners. So the second one is benchmarking. Benchmarking is about identifying a correct training for the workers. Third is a crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing is about getting the information from large amount of workers in that. There are 5 processes in TNA. First, they need to identify what kind of problem, and then they need to determine the design that need to do in this TNA. Third, they need to collect some data, and fourth one will be they need to analyze the data they have collected, and the fifth one will be the feedback. So there are 2 types of competency. First is soft skill. Soft skill, it's about leadership and also team building. And hard skill is about learning finance, information technology, IT. Okay, there are 5 process of competency assessment. First is self-assessment. Second is assessor review. Third is identify the development needs. The fourth one will be on-off job learning. And the last one is reassessment. Okay, From what we have learned from this TNA topic, me and my teammates find that TNA is very important for an organization because it don't only give a positive way for the organization, but it helps to give a good impact on the employees in skill wise. So they're able to improvise their skills, and it by having that kind of skills, they're able to contribute to the company, and the company may go to the higher level of progress. So that's all from us. Thank you for watching.